Iran has claimed to have intercepted a U.S. aircraft carrier in the Strait of Hormuz as tensions in the region once again threaten to boil over. IRGC Navy Commander Rear Admiral Sardar Alireza Tangsiri said Iranian drones had tracked a number of U.S. vessels in the key strategic waterway, the Tasnim news agency reported. Sardar Alireza Tangsiri announced the interception of an American aircraft carrier fleet with IRGC native drones during the annexation of 188 UAVs and helicopters to the IRGC Navy and stated, 2 destroyers 114 and 104, battleships 58 and 59, 2 patrol frigates 9 and 12 and a U.S. Coast Guard 1,333 terrorist submarine were identified before entering the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. In such a context, interception refers to the tracking and observation of the ships. Mr. Tangsiri also said U.S. ships would be tracked in the straits at all times. Speaking on Sunday, Mr. Tangsiri lashed out at the U.S. for deploying ships in the region. He said, "Definitely, this is our home and it is U.S. terrorists that are present in the wrong place. We have never started a war and will never do so. But should a war break out, we are definitely not afraid of it." He added, "We always avoid war. But if the enemies want to threaten and encroach upon our national interests in any part of the country, we will firmly stand up to any such move," said. "I'm telling the enemies not to repeat a mistake." The IRGC did not name the ship it claims to have tracked, but the U.S. Fifth Fleet confirmed on Friday aircraft carrier USS Nimitz had sailed through the Strait of Hormuz on its way to the Persian Gulf, accompanied by guided missile cruisers USS Princeton, CG-59, and USS Philippine Sea, CG-58, and guided missile destroyer USS Starrett, DDG-104, the numbers of which were provided by Mr. Tangsiri. A tweet stated, "Aircraft carrier USS Nimitz, CVN-68, along with USS Princeton, CG-59, USS Philippine Sea, CG-58, and USS Starrett, DDG-104, completed a scheduled transit through the Strait of Hormuz into the Arabian Gulf September 18. Relations between Iran and the United States have worsened significantly in recent years, since U.S. President Donald Trump pulled out of the JCPOA deal aimed at preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons, citing repeated violations. Addressing the United Nations General Assembly yesterday, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani insisted his country has stayed faithful to the agreement. He added, "Life is hard under sanctions. However, harder is life without independence. We are not a bargaining chip in U.S. elections and domestic policy. Any U.S. administration after the upcoming elections will have no choice but to surrender to the resilience of the Iranian nation." The United States on Monday imposed new sanctions on Iran's defense ministry and others involved in its nuclear and weapons program to support the U.S. assertion that all UN sanctions against Tehran are now restored, something key European allies as well as Russia and China reject. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told a news conference, "No matter who you are, if you violate the UN arms embargo on Iran, you risk sanctions." Iran said the new U.S. sanctions, which targeted 27 Iranian entities and people in the nuclear, missile and conventional arms sectors, would have no effect and accused the United States of seeking publicity. The latest sanctions on the oil-exporting nation include a new executive order signed by President Donald Trump targeting those who buy or sell Iran conventional arms that was previously reported by Reuters. The Strait of Hormuz, which is barely 21 miles wide, has been dubbed one of the most volatile waterways in the Middle East, and is regarded as a dangerous flashpoint. UK ships were told to steer clear of the area last year after the UK-flagged Stena Impero, which is Swedish-owned but registered in Britain, was seized by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard taken to the port of Bandar Abbas. The semi-official Fars news agency claimed it had been seized for violating international maritime rules, but Stena Bulk, which owns the vessel, said the ship was in full compliance with all navigation and international regulations.